What's up, guys? John Howell here. Look at this. What does that say? You see that? 800 calories, 60 minutes done on the Stairmaster, and a Sunday morning for you guys. All right. Oh shit. All right. A little message to the haters out there, and I want a little message to the guys out there who really are trying to make sense of this world with the trading and stuff like that. Bit of a crazy rant that I'm about to go on right now. And again, right now, what time is it? As you know, I just finished. It is, what's that time say? That's 5:32 in the morning. So 4:30 a.m. Sunday morning, and I'm about to rock this house down. Anyway, bit of a message to you guys, and a message to the haters out there. If you guys have been following my journey, and you've been watching me for the last few weeks, I've got a lot of stuff right in the calling, but there's one or two calls that I got wrong, and people lost their absolute goddamn mind. Now, I apologize for saying that, but that's what they did, right? And again, that's not being offensive or anything like that, but as you know, right, people just lost their mind because I called something, I got it right, and there was one call that I thought, no, I got it wrong, and they lost their damn mind. So anyway, I want to share something with you guys, okay? I want to share something with you guys, and the purpose of me bringing that up is this. Most people out there are too gutless to step up and take real responsibility to get ahead in these markets. Okay, most people will do that. Most people are going to continue to not see the journey you're on. Remember this. 97-98% of the people out there have a herd mentality. And if you're like me, who you just don't, I just look around here, I'm just not like most people. Right? I'm just not like most people out there, right? And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the way it is, right? I'm just not like me. I look at it like, I'm not like these people out here, right? I'm not like most people out there. And so the reason why I say that is because along your journey, on you trying to become great in these markets, there's going to be a lot of people that say, see, I told you were wrong. See, I told you not right. You suck. You're an idiot. Why are you doing that for? How long have you been doing that for? When I first started trading, I started trading 18 years ago, like looking at the markets 18 years ago, right? And so, if you're wondering my age, I'm 38. I started looking at the markets when I was 20, right? So I started looking at the markets, like, what the hell is a stock, right? When I was 20, I had no idea what a stock was. I remember I was a laborer for my job, and it took me a long time for my brain to start to get it. Years and years of starting to get it. And I had so many people say to me, like, I used to go to church all the time, 15 years, friendships. And then when I started wanting to do better in my life, these people are like, oh, what are you, just money hungry right now, are you? I'm like, no, I'm not money hungry, but I don't want to be like you who complains about your job every day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like that. I actually want to enjoy my life. I want to have freedom. I want to have choices. So I started really seeing things a bit differently. And what happened was, and this is what may happen to you, along your journey in your first few, probably 2 to 5 years of you starting with the market, you're gonna find it tough. Trading the market successfully is one of the most hardest things you'll ever do, right? And my shoulder's hurting so much right now. Anyway, so trading the market successfully is one of those hardest things you ever do. And most people out there, because you're trying to rise above and do something more than them, they're going to keep trying to push you down. Because you're not conforming to what most people think you should do, therefore you're wrong. I remember going through my cancer, 2008, 2009. If you type in YouTube, John Howell cancer, you'll be able to see what I looked like back then. And if you look at my face now, And look at my skin now, compared to what I looked like back then in 2008. Guess what? I look so much better now. So the whole purpose of me saying this is that at that time, I didn't go down the natural path of doing the chemo and the radiation and the chemotherapy and stuff like that, right? I just didn't do that because I didn't want to go down that path. I knew that there was a better way. For me it was, right? For me it was. And I just knew that there was a better way. And I had my mother-in-law, my wife at the time, all my people, all my friends, family members call me an idiot, I'm selfish, I'm not thinking about my son, etc., 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 right? And I had so many people against what I knew I had to do, but guess what? 12 months later, I won. 12 months later, I didn't do chemo, I didn't do radiation, I didn't do any of that stuff that I didn't want to do. I knew in my heart that it was the wrong thing to do, right? But that was my choice, and I knew it was wrong. But because of that one decision going against what pretty much everyone in my life, I now have the health and the vitality and the energy that I have today. Probably more than most people. I went to my chiropractor recently. You know, as I said, like I'm almost 40. And my chiropractor, we're talking about chiropractor, and I was telling him that I want to stay fit because like my sons are getting much older. You know, and I said to him that when I'm at the basketball court, I want to run them ragged. I want to be the one that says keep going, and not my son say, Dad, you're overweight. You know, why are you doing this for? And he said to me, John, I'm not pissing wind up your backside here, but if you go to a basketball team or a sports team, he said, most people out there are not going to be as fit as you. Most dads out there are not going to be fit as you. But because the purpose of me saying all that is it's not about me, right? It's about your journey as well too, what's going to happen. And the purpose of me saying that story is because back when I had my cancer, that was the defining factor that made a huge difference to where I am today with the way that I see things and the way that I do things in life. And so what's going to happen is along your journey, you're going to have people that are closest to you. And this is going to be one of the most hardest things out there. You're going to have people that are most closest to you say to you, this is not right for you. Why are you doing this for? You've been doing this for 2 years and now you're down how much? My first 5 years, I lost $250,000. 5 years of trading these markets, $250,000. It's like, what? You click buttons for a living to make money? What? You made how much last month? You know, like, I remember the first month I made $100,000 in 1 month, and I was just like, oh my goodness, and I wanted to tell them, I just made 100 grand this month. And it was the pushback, right? They got the pushback. And so you're going to endure these people. The people out there are going to say things and do things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. And the hardest thing out there for me is that one of my most values in my life is connection with people, right? And this is going to really... And so because I really wanted to do well financially and do well out of something that most people are not going to do, I wanted to do that. But because I valued people's connection so much more, I really valued having a connection in my life, even though that connection wasn't good for me. I would unconsciously sabotage me succeeding in the markets. And so what would happen was I would unconsciously start to do things to not do well out of trading because I wanted to have a connection value more to my partner or to the people in my life. So, and that actually kept me stuck for a long time. One of the most hardest things I ever had to do, and still do to this day, is say no to the people around me. Doesn't mean they're bad people, right? It's not that they're bad people. It's just, I can't go down this path. You know what I mean? Like, I can't go down this path with you because I need someone who's going to pull me forward, not try to slow me down because the way that they are in life. And again, it's not that they're bad people. And I've had to cut so many people out of my life because of that. And that's been one of the most hardest things for me, is because one of my biggest needs is connection with people. And so with you personally, is that when you're going through this, when you're going through this journey of yours, you're going to come across people, like you've probably seen people on my YouTube channel lately, right? It's like I'll get one call wrong and people go absolutely just nuts over it. But also people out there are so damn gutless that they don't know how to take responsibility for their own decisions, their own actions, right? But for you personally, if you are struggling right now when you're trading, and you have people out there telling you like this is not for you and so on and so forth, just say, okay, that's their opinion. That's where they're coming from, right? Not where you're coming from. But if you do want to go down this journey called trading, be prepared for it to be one of the most hardest things you've ever had to do in your life, right? Because the biggest thing that the market will teach you is self-accountability. And most people don't want that. Most people say, oh, I took a trade, I went long because this YouTube video said it was going to the moon and he was wrong. Fuck you, something, right? That's what most people probably do. I see it every day on my YouTube channel. But with the markets, it's going to be one of the most hardest things you've ever had to do, because what's going to happen is it forces you to look at yourself, right? Because if we want to change, we must change. We must change the way we're looking at the markets, the way we're thinking about the markets, and how we're approaching the markets. Right? If we actually want to get ahead, right? We can't keep doing the same thing over and over again, trying to look for the quick fix and so on and so forth, or blaming other people if we want to get ahead in the markets, because the market will pick you up and spit you out quick as look at you. The reason why the market is so hard to trade is because it teaches you, the biggest thing is the self-accountability. And we must say, okay, what must I do today? What must I start doing differently to start to get ahead in these markets? And most people out there are not like that. Most people just want to, sit down and not do much in their life. And so, if you want to embark on this journey, if you've been trading this market now for a couple of years now, right, and you really want to make this a lifelong journey, are you prepared? Are you willing to pay the price? Because there's a big, big, big price to come, right? Trading the market is one of the most difficult things on this planet to do. And that's why having, like with me, with my inner circle that I have, and again, if you're interested in like learning about my trading and my approach, and I'm also running a bit of a special right now, 70% off to my actual inner circle program, where I'm coaching people every day like this sort of stuff. Just go to Johns, JOHNS, johnsfreetraining.com. Go there right now. You can join my next webinar, and on the webinar you'll see how I trade the markets, but also you can get 70% off to my inner circle coaching program for over 12 months, right? But back to what I was saying before, that's the reason why it's so important to hang around people that are actually doing it, that are actually been around these markets for a long time. And that's why with my mentor, he's been involved with the markets now for, 40 years, somewhere about there. Again, my mentor, who makes $5 to $10 million a year, one of the most successful private traders on the planet. I look to him so much, and it's not that he's perfect. No, he's not perfect. But in the area that I'm most attracted to with him is, how did he go from making millions of dollars to losing $8 million, blowing up his entire account, having to go back and work a normal job and rebuild himself? What did he do? And here he is now, 15 so years later, making more money than he did. I see, like, what did he do to rebuild himself? And that's the thing that I've had to do many times as well too, right? If I'm being honest with you, I've done that a few times as well too. When my first 5 years, lost $250,000 and had to rebuild myself. And then guess what? Then I went through another slump again. I went through a divorce, and I went through a breakup, and I did some really dumbass shit, and I've had a few of those milestones in my life. I haven't, almost 20 years of my life, I've had a couple of those. Now on the other side of getting close to 20 years, I don't do that anymore. And I recognize within myself when I'm getting emotional, so I don't really touch the market, you know what I mean? But having a coach, having someone there to help you through these processes is where it's at for you, you know what I mean? And what's going to really help you move forward out there. But are you willing to pay this price? Are you willing to pay the price, which means, are you willing to push people away that are not good for you? Are you willing to stop hanging around these people that are not good for you? If you really want this thing that most people out there just won't achieve, which is freedom financial, FF, right? Freedom, financial freedom. And doing something you really love to do. If you really want that, then I wanna leave you with this one last thing. Why? Why do you want this? Why are you trading for? Because if you just want to make a few dollars, I want to do this thing as a side hustle. It's going to be one of the most difficult things you do on the planet. And the market's going to slap you. It's going to test you so hard. You might be going through that right now. But why do you want to trade? Because if you're just doing it for a side hustle and you want to make a few dollars, the market's going to take everything you have and a lot more. But why do you want to do it? Why do you want to trade this market for? Because it's in those moments, like with me when I lost $250,000, I lost everything. I had to move with my mother and father-in-law. And then I had my mother and father-in-law call me an idiot basically for what I've done. What are those reasons that's going to keep you going even though you have people really close to you saying this is not for you? What are those reasons? What's going to keep you going? Because for me personally, I wanted to prove, for me personally, I was labelled ADHD when I was a little kid, right? Because my father used to kick, my real father when I was real years, he used to kick me against brick walls. So my brain is actually 3 years behind. So when I was 5, I was really a 2 or 3 year old, right? So it takes me a long time for things to click. And it took me a long time for things to actually click into place. And I don't have any degrees behind me, any qualifications behind me, like that. Now I do have a few qualifications, like financial qualifications and stuff like that, and also health degrees and stuff like that. But I don't really have any degrees, right? I didn't go to any uni or something like that, right? So, and my why was always that I just didn't want to be broke anymore. You know what I mean? Like I hated washing cars for a living for $400-500 a week. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's where I was at the time when I first started learning these markets. It's like I just didn't want to be here anymore. But the market's really going to really test you of how bad you really want this. And sometimes it's going to take you a long time for things to start to click. And unfortunately, it's through those experiences. And what's going to happen is many years down the road, through those experiences, you're going to start to learn what works and what doesn't work. Now, obviously, like with me personally, I wish I started getting much more help earlier on, right? Because we could take decades into years, right? Instead of taking 20 years for things to start to click, you can come to someone like me or someone that you respect, and obviously start to learn from them. Make sense? So anyway, guys, that's it for me today. If you are going through a hard time right now, just understand that this is part of the path, right? This is part of the path that is just natural. You're gonna get smacked sometimes. You're gonna fail a lot. Things are not gonna work out. You're gonna feel like this is hopeless. Gonna feel like quitting. And most people are gonna call you an idiot. And why are you doing this for? Right? It's not just you. Everyone goes through these processes, and everyone goes through these paths in our lives. And the winners find motivation in the down periods. They pull themselves back, they look at what they're doing wrong, look at what they're doing right, what do they need to start doing differently, and they start to take action, they start to move forward really quickly, right? Where 98% of people out there who don't do well out of trading are gonna pull back and say, this idiot, that idiot, this blah, 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 blah. Makes sense? So if you are willing to pay the price over the next few years, then you too can become an amazing trader.